All right, let's spend the next few minutes digging into the 10 technology trends that are really going to define what 2026 looks like. And this isn't just about cool new gadgets. We're talking about a massive shift in how we build, scale, and most importantly, trust our entire digital world.
So, what will technology actually feel like in 2026? I mean, we're not talking about flying cars just yet, but the real practical changes that are already starting to take shape. And you know what? The answer might be hiding in a pretty unexpected place.
Yeah, instead of some huge, well-known research firm, our insights for this are coming from a blog post by Hopposoft, an IT consulting company. And that's what makes this interesting. These guys are on the front lines, actually building the systems that are shaping our future. And we're talking over 200 successful projects here. So Hopposoft isn't just watching from the sidelines. They're in the trenches, actively implementing these trends. It gives their perspective a really practical, real-world edge. Plus, they've been at this for over 9 years. They have seen plenty of tech hype fizzle out. That experience gives their take on Gartner's latest forecast a much-needed dose of reality. So why is this so important to get right now?
Well, here's what's changed. We're past the point of just dabbling with new tech. Companies are now weaving these tools deep into their most critical operations. A bad decision today isn't just a simple mistake. It could be a complete disaster that's incredibly hard to fix. The stakes have just gotten so much higher.
Okay, so now that we know how high the stakes are, let's get to the core idea that really connects all 10 of these trends. It's a huge change in how we think about technology itself.
And this is it right here. We're moving from just trying things out to making deep strategic commitments. It's not about one little AI pilot project anymore. It's about redesigning your whole business around these new capabilities. Now, to help us get our heads around this, Gartner has broken the trends into 3 main themes.
So these 10 trends, they're grouped into 3 categories: the architect, the synthesist, and the vanguard. You can think of it as a simple framework: how we build, how we create, and how we protect the tech of the future.
Let's kick things off with the first theme, the architect. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's all about laying the proper foundation. The architect theme is really all about the how. How do we build platforms that are rock solid, secure, and compliant from the absolute get-go? This is the critical infrastructure that everything, and I mean everything else, is going to depend on. Under this theme, you've got things like AI native development platforms, where AI is literally helping to write the code, and geopatriation, which is all about keeping data inside a specific country's borders. But let's zoom in on one trend that is a total game changer for data security. So for years, we focused on protecting data when it's just sitting on a server or moving across the network. But confidential computing, it protects data while it's actively being processed. This is a massive deal for securing sensitive information, especially in the world of AI. Okay, so once we have that solid foundation in place, we can start building some really intelligent stuff on top of it. And that brings us to our second theme, the synthesist. This is where things get really smart. The synthesis theme is all about combination. It's about being a conductor, orchestrating a bunch of different tools and AI agents to work together to pull off some seriously complex goals. So here you'll find trends like physical AI, the brains behind robots and drones, and domain-specific language models, which are fine-tuned for certain industries. But maybe the best example of this whole theme is multi-agent systems. Yeah, instead of having one general AI trying to do everything, just imagine a whole team of AI specialists. You've got one that handles scheduling, another that crunches data, and a third that talks to customers. By working together, they can accomplish so much more than a single AI ever could. So we've built the foundation, and we've built the intelligent systems. Now, how in the world do we protect it all and make sure we can actually trust it? Well, that leads us right to our final theme, the vanguard. The vanguard is basically our digital defense force. These trends are all about being proactive, about preventing threats before they even happen, verifying information, and baking trust directly into the DNA of our systems. This is where you see things like preemptive cybersecurity, which uses AI to stop attacks before they even start, and entire AI security platforms. But let's take a closer look at digital provenance, because it tackles a very, very modern problem. I mean, think about it. With AI creating so much content, how do we know what's real anymore? That's the exact question digital provenance is trying to answer. It creates a verifiable trail, kind of like a digital fingerprint, that confirms where a piece of content came from and that it hasn't been tampered with.
Okay, so we've walked through the architect, the synthesist, and the vanguard, but the real insight, the real aha moment, comes when you see how all of these trends are completely interconnected.
It's like a chain reaction, right? You get these huge advances in generative AI. That's an architect trend. That in turn allows us to build these powerful multi-agent systems. But the second you have those autonomous agents running around, you absolutely need AI security platforms, a vanguard trend, to keep everything in check. It's all one big cycle.
Look, if there's only one thing you remember from this, make it this. For years, we've talked about trust as a policy or some kind of corporate value. That's over. Now, trust is a technical requirement. It's a feature that has to be engineered into our systems from the very beginning. That's the fundamental shift driving all of these trends.
So as we look towards 2026, the question isn't just about which hot new trends to adopt. The real question is how we can architect, synthesize, and guard our systems to be trustworthy by design. Because that's the future we're all responsible for building. Is your team ready for that?